Please note this meeting is being recorded and will be available shortly hereafter for scheduled and on-demand viewing on any smartphone or tablet. If anyone else is recording this meeting, please notify the chairman. Pursuant to Governor Healy's March 29th, 2023 signing of the Acts of 2023, extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency, suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law until June 30th, 2027, this meeting of the Chatham Board of Health is being conducted in person and via remote participation. Every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings as provided for in the order. A reminder that persons who would like to listen to this meeting while in progress may do so by calling 1-508-945-4410, conference ID 136589-398#, or join the meeting online via Microsoft Teams through the link in the posted agenda. While this is a live broadcast and simulcast on Chatham TV, Channel 8 and 1072, despite our best efforts, we may not be able to provide real-time access. We will post a record of this meeting on the town's website as soon as possible. Now I'll turn the meeting over to our chairman, Dr. Noble Hanson.
Thank you. It shall be the policy of this board to conduct its meetings under the open meetings law so as to encourage public participation whenever time permits and as part of agenda item discussions. So we have 4 items on the agenda today, and we will establish a quorum. And when I call your name, please say present. Carol Boyce. John Beckley.
Present.
Dick Edwards.
Present.
And alternate Joanna Kale will come up as a regular member today. Joanna Kale.
Present.
And Noble Hanson present. Okay.
Did you want me to just make the announcement about Mill Hill, or wait till after?
You can, whenever you like. You want to do it now?
Yeah, let's just.
Okay.
I just wanted to let the board know this is not on the agenda, and so it's not really for discussion, but the cleanup at 32 Mill Hill Road is basically complete as of today. There's some scrap metal that he wants to keep and some wood and paving stones and such.
Tires, too.
Tires and they should be gone this afternoon. There's a pile of tires and hazardous materials, propane tanks and gas tanks and things like that, those are all going out to a hazardous waste collection facility today. So
Okay.
we're basically completed with that.
Wow.
It all went very smoothly.
How many days did they take to do the work?
It took a week.
Did take a
It was a
week?
week today, well, work days, so 5 days, basically. Started last Tuesday, and they finished today.
It went faster than they projected then.
It went very well, yeah. Next week, I can show, we did send you some pictures, but next week we can put it on the agenda, and I can answer any further questions, or
And then we can have a discussion.
if Greg has any questions, if you have any questions that Greg can answer, we can do that as well.
Okay, great. Thank you.
All right.
First on our regular agenda is a request for extension to upgrade failed septic system and connect to town sewer for Russell Peterson, 7 Pondview Avenue. And do we have someone here that's going to present the case for that?
Mr. Peterson, do you want to come up to the mic? Yeah. Do you,
Yeah, so this is a property which is undergoing a transfer of ownership. It has a septic system which has been inspected and is deemed failed by the Board of Health. And there's a question of the municipal sewer coming through it in a reasonable period of time, and they'd like to be able to not replace the Title V system and hook up to sewer when it's through. So this is the case that's being presented.
Right. I have spoken with Joe Martins, and he recommends that I maintain this every 6 months until I get hooked up to the town sewer. I am ordering engineering plans this month as we speak.
Right, so you will have a contract to put in the hookup in advance. You do that right away?
Yes, what I'll do is I'll just I've been advised to maintain the system, have it pumped out until, every 6 months until we're ready to hook up next year. It's either in the spring or in the fall.
Can I ask a question?
Right, yeah, and, yep. Judy, I had one question, was, it says that the municipal sewer is projected to come through fall of 2026. How firm a projection is that?
I think that's pretty firm. They're completing the pumps, the lines are already in the road there, they just need to complete the pump station, and then they need to get approval from DEP to start the connections. So they're hoping that, basically, that the pump station will be done by the springtime. So,
So do you plan to do the four things that are listed in this recommendation? Install the riser?
That would be.
I don't have that in front of me.
yeah, so those were my recommendations, based on Joe Martin's recommendations. I said immediate pumping of the septic tank and leach pits, installation of a riser with an accessible bolted plastic cover on the lawn tank to allow for periodic inspection and pumping, and then establishing a service contract with a licensed septic company for inspection and pumping every 6 months, and then engaging in a licensed engineer to design the future sewer connection. My question to you is, are you representing, I know you're the seller, so are you also going to represent the buyer moving forward? Or I'm a little confused.
I'm handling the project right now, and I'm setting everything up, so it'll be ready by the time he takes the house.
So I guess the question for you, Judy, is can he accept the responsibility for your conditions for the seller, for the buyer, or does the buyer have to be involved as well? I don't remember how we do it.
I don't know, have you passed papers on this yet?
No, we have not.
So, I mean, this would have to be part of the agreement between the buyer and the seller.
Right.
So he would have to notify the buyer at the closing, and then the buyer would
I'm
have to
sure-
agree to that as well, or that those conditions are on the property.
Will the house be occupied between now and whenever it is connected to the public sewer?
Yes, I'm living there alone right now,
Okay,
right through the fall, winter,
okay.
and into the spring.
So is the plan to not transfer the property until after the sewer connection is done?
No,
Yes.
no, they want to transfer it now.
As
So
part
if
of the
we
purchase and
transfer it
sale
now,
contract.
Yeah,
Then how can Mr. Peterson be responsible for maintaining the septic after it's transferred?
do you want to answer that question?
And that would have to be some legal, the
I think,
and it could take a year.
is it a family member or something that's
Yeah, it's
purchasing
a,
it? Can you explain it? It's a little unusual. You need to go up to the
Okay, Russ, my son Russell is gonna live there for 3 years. It's a family friend member who's gonna come in and purchase the property, but Russell's gonna be there for at least 3 years, and everything will be taken care of. It was my mother's house, built by Kenneth Proctor in 1976, and it's been in the family ever since. And basically, everything is working out, and we haven't had any issues, and they've been working on the street. I took some pictures this morning, and the line and the caps to the sewer line is just about ready to be capped over, and they're gonna redo the surface. They're gonna redo it. So basically, Russ is gonna be there, and everything will be under control and working.
I mean, once they pass papers, it's legally the responsibility of the legal owner, so.
Who legally owns the house?
Right now, they do, but they're gonna be passing papers.
Russell or
I'm the owner.
Russ, yeah.
Russ, that's me.
Russell?
If we grant this, can we state that the conditions have to be passed on to the potential buyer and agreed to and signed off?
Yeah, we can request
Department
that
of
you
Health
get us
to
something in
agree to these same
writing.
conditions, so
Right.
that we have that would be part of the closing? Can we do that?
Yes.
It's a stipulation.
Could be a deed condition.
I think just a signed agreement between the buyer and the seller would be adequate to keep in our records, and then if something comes up 6 months from now, we can say, well, this is what you signed, and
What is the basis of the 6-month check? And, I mean, how do we know how actively sluggish or actively, it's not failing, I guess, but
So-
Is 6 months frequent enough?
I think it is.
Exactly
If,
right.
I mean, Russ has been living in the property for the last.
28 years.
Okay, for 28 years. What we did see was some signs of, there's 2 pits there. One was full, and.
which one? This first one or the second one?
Oh, I'd have to
Are they in series, or do they get, each get a half a flow?
It's on, there's a picture on the report.
Do you live there by yourself, so there's just
Yes,
one occupant
I
of
live
one?
there.
Yeah.
I raised my kids, and I'm living there by myself.
There's, yeah, I'm not sure which one. I'd have to kind of dig into this a little bit, but one was full and one showed signs of being about half full. But it's not at the moment.
So what happens if between now and 6 months, the hydraulic load on that system
Well, I mean,
breaks out, or?
you know, I guess it depends on how close we are to the sewer, but it would be frequent pumping, more frequent than every 6 months to get them through to the sewer
And
cave.
how would we know that it was hydraulically failing? Would it be ponding on the backyard? Would it be breaking
It
out?
would be ponding, could be back up into the dwelling,
Okay.
so.
But it's
So,
gonna be
Mr.
pumped.
Peter-
It's gonna be pumped now.
Yeah, it's going to be
And when was the last time it was pumped?
2 years ago.
2 years ago, but I've been living there alone, so it's not,
Not a lot of flow.
not like it used to when I had a family of 5 in the house.
Right.
So we're watching it, we're monitoring it.
So you will know
Yeah, I
by
mean,
living
it's-
there.
It's not an emergency. We don't have anything backing up.
Correct.
And
And they already did replace the
D-box.
distribution box and, right.
Okay, so,
And I suppose if it further fails, we could make a stipulation that they return to the.
then it has
For a
to be
review.
pumped as
Pump as
needed.
needed.
Or pump
yeah,
as needed.
that's right.
Yep.
It's going to
Correct.
be pumped out. No problem.
And then, okay, and do you understand the conditions that Judy put down? She went through them quickly.
I just have a quick question. You said it was pumped out 2 years ago?
Yes.
How many people were living in it at that time?
Just myself.
Just yourself, okay.
So, and we're going to watch this every 6 months now, and I'll have the engineering plans, and as soon as we get the go, we will set it up and hook it up to the town sewer.
Okay, and so Judy's conditions were immediate pumping, installation of a riser for access, establishing a service contract with a licensed septic company, and pumping it every 6 months, engaging a licensed engineer now to design the future sewer connection in preparation for a timely hookup.
Yes, I just want to make it clear, we're having Clark Engineering make the engineering plans for us.
Okay?
And I've also been advised by Joe Martin's company, who has done the report and inspection. There's 4 steps he wants me to do. And he didn't say anything about installing a riser near the road, okay?
He did,
Not necessary,
that was in his letter,
okay?
and so, and he doesn't decide what the conditions are either, but
Right.
his memo to us did say that he'd like a riser so they can get in and pump it easily.
The riser is simply on top of the septic tank
They were gonna
to
put it-
allow easy access.
Yes.
But we're only using it for another, 6 months to a year, so it doesn't make sense
It's
to
a
put
plastic
money-
riser,
Doesn't make
it's
sense
a
to put
minimal
money into
expense,
it
so.
when it's not,
Definitely.
it's not,
Is it pumped through the riser?
The tank, the pit, they want to be able to
Oh, take the
type,
pit, yeah.
to pump the pit out.
Now, the
That's
pit-
what
no,
it
you're not
is.
talking
That-
about the seepage pit. You're talking, we have the
The
septic
seepage.
tank,
Right, so if
then we have a
it's,
D-box.
yeah,
and
the
we have-
main tank, and then we have the field, which is under the driveway.
I thought there's two seepage pits.
there's 2 pits. He's recommending that a riser be put in on the lawn tank to allow for periodic inspection for pumping.
When, Okay, I'm confused still. Is that
think
tank, is
he's
that the
meaning-
septic tank? Are we talking about
I
a
think he-
riser above
I think he
the
meant the
seepage
pit.
pit?
Because we're
Let me
we're
look at the
changing it
picture
over.
again.
You're going directly to the,
Pump the septic tank and the lawn pit, install a riser and easily accessible bolted plastic cover over the lawn pit, and monitor the level in the lawn pit with a graduated rod to determine liquid level every 6 months until sewer hookup.
So the,
It doesn't make sense to put that riser in out there at all, because there's only one person living there, and we had it pumped out 2 years ago, and we're gonna do it again. I mean, there's no need to do that.
but you had,
ground is hard as iron. There's no soft
Yeah.
spots anywhere on the property. It's,
what was the date of the inspection? Because there was evidence of sluggish,
there was one in August, I believe it was. September.
okay,
Fifth,
so as of
2025.
September, there was clear evidence that the effluent was not moving down and away the way it should.
It needs to be pumped out, and we're gonna do that. That's what,
I know, but
We are, we've had Robert Biauer, he's been maintaining this every time we need it, and he has all the records. And
But that's for every several years, you get the solids pumped out of the tank.
not every several years, every
every couple.
2 to 4 years. When the family was there, we were doing it, within 3-year period.
Okay.
So
But
it's
that
not
was-
like it's been sitting for 7 years. That's not.
But that was to pump the solids, the accumulated solids at the bottom of the tank. That doesn't have
We have
anything,
an engineer who looked at it and says it needs a riser. I guess the option is to
He's not an
defer
engineer,
this
yeah.
and get another engineer to look at the property and say if it doesn't need a riser. But we have a document that says it needs a
Yeah,
riser.
so Joe Martin has said a communication to the Health Department, I don't know if you have it, but one of his conditions is specifically install a riser. And the
can't-
Health Department recommendations were basically keyed off of
his
what
recommendation.
Martin recommended. So we're kind of going by that, and he's been involved with the system. One other thing that came up on the inspection is there's a garbage disposal system in the house.
Doesn't get used, really.
But you can't have you're not supposed to have a garbage disposal system with the septic system, so,
That was put in when grandmother was there.
Yeah, it was put in 1976.
This
Must be a very good
this is a
garbage.
50-year-old,
I'm not saying that they haven't been put in the past, but according to the rules, that needs to be
There's
removed.
always new rules.
So that's, I mean, it's the garbage disposal for the sink, they just take it out and there's a little bypass, it's not a
Yeah.
huge thing. But that would be, do you think that should be one of the conditions, Judy?
Yeah, sure, I do. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
so
always.
that'll be one of the conditions as well.
I have a garbage.
What, to put the riser in?
no,
Yeah.
he's talking.
No, this is
Garbage.
Remove the garbage.
Oh,
the riser is separate. The garbage disposal is a new condition. Just remove it under the sink. Pretty simple. Not supposed to be there, actually. But the riser is in Martin's recommendations, and I think we would probably hold to those,
Yes.
unless there's, someone on
I-
the board feels otherwise.
we actually haven't been using it. I mean, it just, water goes through into the sink.
Yeah.
That's it.
That doesn't-
So, yeah, those are the conditions that I would recommend, including removing the garbage grinder.
Yes.
And the plastic riser, which is not that big of a deal, really. Because if they're gonna have to, if the system does start filling up too quickly, they need to get at that easily, and that's what allow the routine pumping as necessary.
It can be inspected too in 3 months, you know, you don't
Right.
have to wait 6 months. I mean, you may, if you have the riser, it facilitates
Right.
really easy spot checks
Right.
at any point in time.
We're not talking a lot of money to put in this riser.
I don't think so.
Okay, so maybe we can have Judy read the conditions. There's 5 of them now, once again for the record, and then I can get a motion to approve.
So
and we
number.
can take a vote.
Yep, so number 1 would be immediate pumping of the septic tank and leach pits. Installation of a riser with an accessible bolted plastic cover on the lawn tank. I'm assuming he's meaning the pit in the lawn, to allow for periodic inspection and pumping. Establish a service contract with a licensed septic company for inspection and pumping of the system every 6 months or as needed. Engage a licensed engineer to design the future sewer connection in preparation for the timely hookup when service becomes available. Remove the garbage grinder, and then I would add, should the system fail prior prior to the 1 year that they must be pumped
Not
out.
1 year, until the availability.
Until the availability of the sewer, it must be pumped out as necessary to keep it from any surface overflow.
Right.
Okay.
It's okay.
Any input from the public?
You want to say anything?
Yes, I'm part of this,
Over here.
I'm Russell's mother. And I'm and I'm asking one question. Can this property, 7 Pondview Avenue, get a tax exemption because of this issue? Because the intention was to hook up to the sewer when the town was ready, and it isn't ready. So here is a limit of, here's a time frame of 6 months, a year, who knows? Is there a possibility that this property, 7 Pondview Street, that property could be tax exempt?
Well, you'd have
Tax
to,
exempt?
yeah, you'd have to speak to the assessor's office.
Assessor, so-
We don't do exemptions for taxes, so that's out of our purview.
So
We don't-
you can't, no, I would go to
It's-
the tax office in town.
Yes.
Okay, that's all I want to know.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Any other input from the public?
Yeah, she knows.
Yeah.
Any further questions from the applicants?
We have, Sarah and I have been owners of the Chatham Townhouse Inn for 30 years.
30
so
years.
We know
Library Lane,
everything going on here,
Okay.
the
Yeah.
townhouse inn, and the
Yeah.
2 turtles.
the two turtles.
And we
All right, can I-
we still, with the old innkeepers, we're still walking.
Yeah, we're still walking around. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, all right, can I get a motion to, for the, okay,
I move to approve this variance with the conditions stated.
Second.
and then we'll take a vote. Carol Boyce?
Yes.
John Beckley?
Yes.
Dick Edwards?
Yes.
Joanne Kale?
Yes.
And Noble Hanson, yes. Okay, so you're granted with the conditions to do what you want to do.
I'll put together a letter that you can pick up later this week.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Okay, next on the agenda is a variance hearing and approval of IA Technology for Robert and Jessica Sacco, 44 Chat Harbor Lane, A Perfect Environment LLC.
Is that the green light on in that? You can sit there, yep, if that's easier for you. I never send anybody to that table.
And then we have someone here to present the case for the variance.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Glenn Harrington, environmental consultant.
Microphone, Mike. You got to turn it upside down, I think. Is the green light on?
Green light's on.
Okay. pardon me.
Glenn
You're
Harrington,
good.
representing the property and the owners at 44 Chat Harbor Lane. Bob Sacco, the owner, is here with me. This plan is before you as a proposed increase in flow. There is an existing 3-bedroom dwelling on the property, and there was a garage, a detached garage built a couple of years ago with an upstairs, which is unfinished, and they wish to finish that and have a bathroom upstairs, which would be treated as the 4th bedroom. So per the regulation, an Advantex AX20 treatment unit has been added to provide nitrogen reduction and meet the nitrogen loading requirements for the property. It is a 34,169 square foot property, and with the 4 bedrooms, the advanced treatment is necessary to meet the nitrogen loading. The nitrogen loading calculations are on the plan. By Title V standards, the property could handle 5 bedrooms, but there is a 1-bedroom request. Per the regulation, 1 bedroom may be approved by the board to 4 bedrooms. In the packet, I provided 2 conditions for nitrogen reduction using the Cape Cod Commission nitrogen loading worksheet, where nitrogen reduction was shown for an existing condition at 3 bedrooms, and then also at 4 bedrooms with the advanced treatment. There was a reduction with the advanced treatment versus the 3 bedrooms from about 6 parts per million to about 4 parts per million. So there was an overall reduction in nitrogen with the advanced treatment, even with the bedroom addition. I'll take any questions if you have.
Dick?
As often happens in this variance requests, when we look at the plan of the existing house,
Yes.
under some interpretations of the regulations, this would be a 4-bedroom house, because the closet, the office on the first floor has a window, it has a door, it's of less than 6 feet, and it has privacy, and that would make it a bedroom. And that would then make this a 4-bedroom house asking for a 5th bedroom. I would suggest the way to get around this would be to modify the entrance to the office and convert it to a 6-foot cased opening.
I think you have to walk through the office, though. The office doesn't have privacy because you have to walk through it
To get to what?
to get from, I believe, the garage to the,
We
to the
we in the
main part of the
past wouldn't-
house.
You walk through the laundry.
No, there's a door
There's a laundry with
The
a door at
laundry
each
room.
end that you walk through.
that you
to
can
the
walk
house.
through.
Oh, yeah, there is another door. I didn't notice.
Yeah, the
There's only
garage
one door.
entrance to the house would be through the office, I guess.
Oh, what's that door for?
There's 2 doors. Yeah, I didn't notice that, the other door.
You go from the garage to the laundry into the hall of the house, straight through. That's the quickest way to get into the house, according to this plan.
Okay, I didn't deem it as a bedroom. I think it would be a bedroom because you had to walk through it for egress into the house. So if it is considered its own privacy, then it may meet the bedroom requirement.
Dad, did you want to say something?
Yes, Todd Eldridge, East Southeast. Could I ask, is that directly off of the garage? Is that,
Yes,
Directly
the
off.
office is directly off the garage, and that's not usually allowed to be considered a bedroom because it's
per the
direct access to
code.
the garage.
per the code,
For
you
the
need
building
to have a
code.
separation between the garage and a bedroom. You need a hallway or,
Which is probably why it was approved originally,
so it sounds like it can't be a bedroom under the code.
Oh, good.
under building code.
Makes things.
Is that,
Thank you, Thad.
Thank
you
you.
agree with that, Judy?
I do, I was going to
Okay.
say it, but I was,
I had a,
got to it yet.
I had a question about the playroom on the second floor. It says unfinished. Now, there is a stairway up.
There is, it remains unfinished in its storage.
Unfinished means what? No sheetrock, no heat, no electricity? Or what's the definition of unfinished?
I know that it's storage.
It's just raw storage. There's no, it's not a condition that it could be.
You have to either come here or to the,
My name is Robert Sacco. It's raw, it's unfinished storage space. It's not heated or cooled, or we just store furniture.
So there's no
extra
heating
items
in it?
that space. And
No-
it's
no heating?
attached.
No heat.
No heat, so that.
There's
that may-
no
that's-
conditioning in that.
Yep.
That's the definition for us for unfinished.
Sheetrock? No.
It does have sheetrock on the wall that faces the back wall to the to the rest of the home.
I think it needs sheetrock, heating, and electricity to be a room. So
There's no heat.
There's no heat,
No.
okay.
Now, the town assessor has it listed as a 4-bedroom, 3-bath. They already have it as.
We don't go by their estimate because we count bedrooms differently than them. So I don't know.
So would the Board of Health have inspected this or reviewed these plans in the past?
Do you know when the house was built?
The house was built in 1996, so we've been homeowners here since that time.
Yep, it was before me, so,
Me.
so I did not review it, but, you know, if I was looking at it today, I would call it a 3-bedroom based on the fact that you do have to walk through the office to get from the garage. Either way, but it opens, if that door is there, which I'm assuming it is, there's a door into the office from the garage. We would not consider that a bedroom. And then the playroom's unfinished, so, I mean, we are looking at changing that rule and making a clear definition of unfinished as well, but, so I'd have to go back into the building files to see what the original plan looked like, but I'm assuming it's not much different than this.
So the Board of Health would say, with the review, that the current house would be a 3-bedroom house if it were inspected today?
Yes, I would.
Which would then mean that this application is in good order,
6, 7,
right?
yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, so if the second floor playroom unfinished is unfinished, the office has a direct door from the garage, so it looks like it's a 3-bedroom house. And so the request is 169 square foot lot, currently allowed 3 bedrooms, and the variance is to add IA technology and then be granted a 4th bedroom.
I just want to also tell you that they're using an Advantex, which is on the best available nitrogen removing technology list. That's something we've been looking at, is that we've been getting a lot of fasts that don't do as well to remove nitrogen, but this one is certified by the state as a best available nitrogen removal.
Is it a good system as far as you know?
Yeah, they get good numbers. There's only 2 systems, and I think that.
She's saying better than the fast system, which is the common one, which is cheaper.
That's
So-
what I'm saying.
So,
They're
So I
they're a
think-
hair more expensive than the fast unit, but I've had so many issues with the fast blowers that I've moved away from them.
right. And actually, sometime in the future, we were going to review the different systems and see if we can narrow the list down, but that's, okay.
My-
Mr.
I was
Sacco?
gonna say, my wife and I, you know, we've been in this home for 30 years with the same system. We feel like we're improving the situation and reducing the nitrogen load on the property, which we think is a good thing, you know.
Right.
Right. The IA technology for 4 bedrooms is better than the old-fashioned for the 3-bedroom. It's Title V for the 3-bedroom, so that's why we approve them generally.
Yeah.
Now, any further comment? Okay, any input from the public? Any comments from the public?
See none?
Okay, and then we gonna get a motion to,
We need Judy to read.
Judy can read the conditions, yeah?
Conditions.
These are our standard conditions. The applicant should restrict the property to a maximum of 4 bedrooms and record this restriction on the deed at the Barnstable County Registry of Deeds. The applicant shall submit a copy to the Health Division. The applicant shall sign a covenant with the board agreeing to comply at such time as the town of Chatham, through its Board of Health and/or Board of Water and Sewer Commissioners, directs the connection of this property to the municipal sewer when it becomes available. Throughout its life, the system shall be under an operation and maintenance agreement. The O&M agreement shall be for at least 1 year and may be with any mass certified operator of the appropriate grade that has received training by the company. Effluent from the system shall be monitored at least twice per year for the first 2 years, preferably May and October. The effluent shall be tested in accordance with Mass DEP standard conditions for secondary treatment units certified for general use. revised March 20th, 2015. In addition, a laboratory test of the effluent for total nitrogen to meet the performance standard of 19 milligrams per liter shall be collected and analyzed by a certified lab. Water meter readings are to be provided with the semi-annual report. If any of the field tests or lab tests fail, follow-up tests shall be conducted by a certified lab and an evaluation by the operator within 30 days. After the required 2 years, testing application can be made to the board or their agent for the review and possible modification of the monitoring requirements. The applicant agrees to apply a minimum of 6 inches of compacted topsoil to all disturbed areas. The engineer shall submit an engineered as-built plan, including as-built elevations with a written certification that the system has been installed in accordance with the approved plan. No alteration to the floor plan of the dwelling or the site plan will be allowed without further review by the Board of Health, and this variance is granted pursuant to the Town of Chatham nitrogen loading regulations. It's valid from 1 year from the date of the Board of Health approval. A permit must be issued and the work commenced during that 1-year period, or the variance shall expire.
Okay, thank you. So we can take a vote, and when I call your name, please say yes if you approve.
We need a motion
A
and a
motion,
second.
yeah. Your
I
motion,
move to approve this variance with the stipulated,
I'll second that.
conditions in the second. Okay, so now we can take a vote. Carol Boyce?
Yes.
Yes, what?
You gotta make a sound.
John Beckley?
Yes.
Dick Edwards?
yes.
Joanne Kale?
Yes.
Noble Hanson, yes. Okay, that's granted then.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay. Now we have the third and the fourth variance, which kind of go together, I think. The third is a variance hearing approval of IA Technology for 16 Sea Pine Road LLC, 160 Woodland Way. And then the fourth item is variance hearing and approval of IA Technology for Harbor Builders LLC, 170 Woodland Way. East Southeast is the engineer involved. And I'll just say that this variance is a first time for me and the board, so this isn't something we've done before. We probably don't know much about it, so we'll have Thad present it first and ask him some questions, and then Judy has some perspective on this thing and can go over it as well from her standpoint. So this basically is variance which requires nitrogen loading credits, or what they call aggregation of nitrogen loading from one property to another. But we'll let Thad present this and explain things, and we'll get Judy's involvement, and we'll kind of go from there.
Absolutely. For the record, Thad Eldridge misplaced his presentation. So we have two properties before you, 160 and 170 Woodland Way. 170 Woodland Way has just under, it has 19,364 square feet, where 160 has 21,222 square feet. The proposal for each property is a similar 3-bedroom home with an innovative alternative technology and the variance associated with that. 160 would be free and clear from the requirement of the prohibition of short-term rentals. 170 could be restricted. We'd like to try and get out of that, which is why we're doing the aggregation plan.
Let me just say one thing. But the restriction, as I understand it, is just no short-term rental condition on the smaller property.
Correct.
So that's the only,
That's the only
because the
difference.
smaller property, by our most current amendment to the nitrogen loading regulation, is allowed 3 bedrooms with the IA system,
Yes.
So
with
what,
the restriction of no short-term
With the
rental. So this is
restriction.
all about the no short-term rental restriction.
so where does the no short-term rental restriction, why is that applied here?
Because we have a property with 19,364 square feet, we're requesting the 3rd bedroom.
So,
And that's in our nitrogen loading regulations. That's the Board of Health nitrogen loading regulations says that.
remember,
Judy, go ahead.
I don't know if you remember, a few years ago, we restricted 2-bedroom houses if they were under 20,000 square feet, they could not add a third bedroom.
Right.
And then there was outcry from the public and the select board. So we agreed to allow a third bedroom on 10,000 to 20,000 square foot lots with a condition that they would not be allowed as short-term rentals because
Based upon the historic overloading of short-term rentals with too many.
right, and the concern that the public was making is that if someone had a two-bedroom house and they were a growing family, they may want to add a third bedroom. So that's why we changed our regulation. I don't know if you want to let that continue,
And
but
the
that's where that came from.
And the change in regulations that we did, the overall regulations, and then the amendment, one of the things was just quality of life in the neighborhood, crowds, cars, people, among other factors. So
And the
so
other
we
was
specifically
having
put
more
in-
people occupying the property if it's an undersized property, you know, even with the IA system. But,
All right, but I interrupted Thad.
No, it's quite all right. This is new territory, and I've done a couple of aggregation plans in other towns, and usually it's with a zone two. They are seldom used. Just to take a tangent for a moment, I've provided, and you are slated to discuss the best available nitrogen-reducing technologies, which I wish they had gotten rid of nitrogen in there and just said BART list, because it'd make it easier just to say BART instead of BART.
And I can't hear that.
Oh, I'm terribly
Can you
sorry.
get it a little loud? Yeah,
I
closer
will-
to the,
Sorry.
thank you.
So I have provided the best available nitrogen-reducing technologies list, just the general use technologies that are approved by the DEP. There are two. There's the STAR system and there's the Advantex system. And you just heard an application with the Advantex. We're going with the STAR for a couple of reasons. Now, the second page of that presentation or that handout that I provided, the numbers that came out of Barnstable for the microfast system, which we've been proposing a lot of microfasts over the years, and the board has reminded me that they don't always meet the 19 part per million standard. They're about 42% effective. So that's unfortunate, and it's a reason to get away from the microfast until they increase their technology to meet the 19 more often. The Advantex system, which is on that best available nitrogen-reducing technology list, that meets the 19 part per million standard about 67% of the time. The STAR system has been meeting the 19 part per million standard somewhere between 85 and 92% of the time. The DEP standard, or the DEP graph, shows an 85%. The Barnstable County actually shows a 92.7% number of tests that come back meeting the 19. If you get a chance to go to that Barnstable County site, it is neat. You can change the parts per million. There's a little slider. So the Advantex system will meet 10 parts per million, which is the next standard we're going to be looking at. That meets it about 19% of the time. The STAR system has been meeting that 10 part per million about 68% of the time.
So why don't they meet it 100% of the time, if that's the standard?
Chemistry is messy.
Yeah.
So the best way, if you want to make these systems work, long showers. It's all a dilution.
Yeah, it has a lot to do with what the number is that you start with. So you're trying to get, if you're trying to get 50% reduction, which would bring you down theoretically to 19, if you start at 48 or something.
If they're evaluating the various methodologies, can't they standardize what they're evaluating and then see how
They
they
try,
stack up
and that's what they
against
do
each
at the
other?
test center, is they try and standardize input and output, and that's probably why the numbers are better at the test center than what the states, because the state, I think, just uses testing from all over what the company gives them, isn't that true?
The test centers seem to have a number of tests from all over. The charts are beyond, and you can see the
There's
state
just-
charts are in blue with,
But there's just a lot of variables with the influent, which can cause a lot of changes and the amount of reduction you're going to get on the effluent.
Let me just say one thing, and then I'll get Dick. John, so they're measuring concentrations, not bulk removal. You know what I mean? So it's kind of a flawed system, that's what she's saying. But Dick?
So, 2 or 3 years ago, the county health department came here, and they did a presentation on all the IA systems installed in Chatham. And they measured the effluent from the I don't know, from the leaching pit or whatever, and they found that far and away, the majority of the systems were the fast system, and they only had a 30 or 40%
Which is
compliance
showing, yeah.
with the 19 standard. And so now we have the STAR system, the Advantic system, we still have the FAST system. Our standards say IA, so FAST still qualifies as IA, and somebody can install that knowing that it's highly likely it really doesn't work up to standards. And the question is, what is the cost differential between installing a FAST system and an Advantix or a STAR?
It's
Is it
going to
a
be,
huge amount of money?
it's going to be double the price for the
Double
the
the
STAR
price.
system.
So there's a significant economic advantage to using a system that we are highly
So-
skeptical of.
What's the ballpark,
Can they-
gross number,
the
when you
Board of
say
Health-
double? Is it
The
10,000, 20,
wholesale-
50?
The wholesale price for just the units is somewhere between 12 and 15,000
Which unit?
for the STAR. For the microfast, it's about half of that.
So it's $6,000 difference in the whole system.
Now, can a Board of Health compile a list of approved IA systems for that town? And not allow
Yes.
somebody to
Why is
install a
fast-
system that we know in Chatham doesn't work well?
Why does the county even allow fast systems if their relative performance is so much lower?
I think we're getting a little off track, but.
Yeah, I
but-
know.
But yes, I mean, we can say we only want to use technologies that are under the best available nitrogen removal technology list. That list was created because they just deemed the embayments as nitrogen sensitive on the Cape, and Chatham being a major, we have the two major embayments, the Pleasant Bay, and then now we're going to be, the watershed in the southern areas are going to be. But because we have a wastewater management plan and a watershed permit, we don't need to put these IA systems on every system in town. But we have our nitrogen loading regs, which require, if they're putting an additional bedroom and they're not getting sewer, then we require them to put it on anyways. That's why we've kind of continued to allow the fast systems, so that we're still getting some nitrogen reduction. But I think with the idea that eventually they're going to be sewer, it might take 30 or 40 years at this point. But we certainly can say we're only going to allow the list that the state has approved, which only have these two systems on it. And I think everything Thad's showing you is great information that we should talk about moving forward.
Can we as a town have a list that's more restrictive than the state list?
Right.
Well,
If
there'd
I
be
may-
nothing on it if we, if we did that.
Nothing on it?
I mean,
Tight tanks and.
there's only two systems on their list, so,
Oh,
And if I may, those two are just the general use. There are provisional and piloting that are
Right.
approved as well. So you can get into the nitro and the nitrex, and there are several others.
we wouldn't
but
be
in
using
answer
those.
to Dick and whatnot, we have talked about trying to narrow the recommendations, or what
Yes.
we say, when we say IA, and that's sort of on the agenda. That's partly why we got that person, who wasn't particularly helpful. That was just one study, but that's, I think, is something to keep in mind. Maybe we can have Thad come back and give us a more in-depth presentation at some point.
And your regulations do allude to the best available nitrogen-reducing
We
technology.
did, I put that in the last,
And we'll move on, but the
Maybe we
cost
need to
difference in terms
define
of the
that.
whole cost of doing the system is not that much either, so it's not that onerous, so, anyway, okay, so
So-
let's
so
continue on with
I had
the,
mentioned the wholesale
Thing at hand.
pricing on these units, and then they have to go into septic tanks that are also purchased. The Microfast is a single tank system. The Star system is 2 tanks instead. So again, yeah, those numbers, I mean, the Star system, that's impressive how well it does. So,
okay, but go on with the presentation for the
Absolutely,
160 and
So
170 Woodland.
The Star
Way.
system also is one of the few that can go in an H20 wheel loading. It can be put in the driveway. A lot of people prefer that in the driveway because now you put covers to grade. You're not taking up lawn area. The Advantex has these big green covers that go in the lawn that now you're losing some of your lawn area. So for that reason as well, we'd like to go with Star to keep the lawns lawn. So with the nitrogen loading regulations, if we had 2 lots that were 20,000 square feet, we could request the additional bedroom without the deed restriction. Because 160 is oversized by enough to give a little land to 170, we would like to do that, effectively making 170 a 20,030 square foot lot in your eyes, and 160 would be reduced to 20,546. And that's the whole idea behind aggregation. You grant an easement that credits the other
So
property.
it doesn't change the boundary line of the parcel. It just puts certain legal rights on the property that's giving up so that they don't control 100% of their property in the future.
Correct.
Okay.
And there are a number of restrictions. You can't pave that area. It can't be part of a wetland or otherwise. This is in the back corner of the property where it's just going to be buffered to the neighbor anyhow, so it works.
Dick?
So this is sort of a novel idea that this Board of Health has not encountered before. And so rather than redividing the property and making each property 20,000 square feet or more, we want to do this donation of nitrogen loading credits, simply for the purpose of allowing another short-term rental in that neighborhood. And one of my issues is, what if this was a 14,000 square foot lot next to a 40,000 square foot lot? So you could donate 6,000 square feet of nitrogen loading, and you could build a 3-bedroom house on a tiny little lot and make it a short-term rental. And there were several reasons why, for that short-term rental restriction on lots under 20,000 square feet. It wasn't simply nitrogen, it was grouting, and it was a bunch of other things that came into the Board of Health considered. So I am very much against starting a precedent of allowing anybody in Chatham who has an 18,000 square foot lot and wants to build a short-term rental to get nitrogen loading credits from some other lot that doesn't even have to be adjacent in the town of Chatham.
I think.
The 2 lots don't have to be
Can I
adjacent,
just
but it has to be within the town of Chatham.
clarify one thing? After we talked, that I did review our regulations, and you can't give nitrogen credits for a lot that's greater than 20,000 square feet. So it wouldn't be, if we couldn't do it we couldn't take a 40,000 square foot lot and
You can't
give,
take them
and
from
give
a
10,
40,000 square.
right, you can't, that, the
No, you
fis-
can't
You
give them
can't
to
give
it.
them to
you can't take it away from the 40,000 square foot lot and give it to
what's the largest lot you can
way
take it
around.
away from?
20,000.
Well, this lot that you're taking away from is more than 20,000. It's
that, maybe I'm
20,300.
Judy, I think it's you can give the
Maybe I have
nitrogen
that backwards.
loading credit to a lot less
To a
than
lot.
20,000 square foot.
More than,
It
you
doesn't,
can't
it
give
can come
credit.
from any lot, as I understand it.
Let me review it again, I'm sorry.
You can't give credits
And
to a
it's-
lot more than 20,000 square feet.
So if you have a 20,000
Oh,
square
yeah,
foot.
you're right, I had it backwards.
Right.
Yeah.
A residential lot wishing to aggregate flows from nitrogen credit land shall be less than 20,000 square feet.
And to be
I
clear.
read that backwards
Yeah,
in my
so,
mind.
but to be clear, you're not transferring property. You're transferring this entity called a nitrogen loading credit. That's the thing we have never dealt with before.
Correct.
And so, one question I have is, why wouldn't these property owners just transfer 676 feet of property by the deed from one property to another for $1 or whatever, and then they'd both be 20,000 square feet? Why wouldn't they go that way instead of taking this novel approach to it?
It's less expensive, you don't have to get,
Well, I'm just asking Thad.
These lots were created in 1948. They're basically 20,000 square foot lots in a 40,000 square foot zoning district. So to change the lot line would not only require land court, planning board, it would also require zoning board of appeals, because one lot would be made more non-conforming with the change, while the other lot's becoming more conforming. That would be a variance under the zoning board, which is very difficult. Once the buildings are constructed, I don't even know if a land swap could be possible then. So subdividing it would take away the buildability of the lots.
Say that again?
Subdividing it, changing the lot line would change that protection.
Right. So you're not saying it's impossible, you're saying it's very difficult. That's the reason, I guess, to put it in a
Very,
couple
very
words.
difficult. Well,
Okay, other questions or comments from the board?
could I
And then
add one
Thad can-
more? With aggregation, the donor property has to be in the same watershed. So when you go back to the Mass Estuaries program and they show all those little different slivers, the two properties have to be in the same watershed.
How many watersheds are there in Chatham then?
Oh, there were dozens.
A dozen, yeah.
I mean, it was very split up throughout
Like
the
Oyster
town.
Pond,
And
Muddy
you had the
Creek.
whole Stage Harbor complex, but then that was broken down into sub-watersheds.
All right.
So it's, you know, I know that there's a fear that this could set a dangerous precedent. I don't have the same fear of that. as-
Theoretically, if you lived in, say, on Harding's Beach area or something, you wanted to build a short-term rental, and you had an 18,000 square foot property, you could go up and down the street asking people if they'll donate a couple thousand square feet of credits to you.
and you
So
pay
you
them.
You could sell it. So
Yeah,
one
you
person
could
could
for a
sell it. You could put
price.
an ad in the Chronicle.
Right. I mean, this
You
could
could,
create
then-
a whole new way of approaching.
Right. So I mean,
But the donor lot would still have to meet their nitrogen loading. And if they
Correct.
had a 22,000 square foot lot with 3 bedrooms on it already, they couldn't
Right.
donate.
Right. But
Unless
if they had a
were-
26,000 square foot lot, they'd be okay. Yeah,
Unless they had 4
but I-
bedrooms on that 26,000 square foot lot, and then they,
I don't know. Is anybody else doing this?
not to this level.
well, in a moment, we'll get to, Judy has some perspective there. But I would say for me, it's like opening Pandora's box. We don't really know where it's going to go and what it amounts to. It's novel. We haven't dealt with it. And I would say that it's not the difference between building and not building. It's not the difference between building a 3-bedroom home or not. It's only about the short-term rental on the 3-bedroom home in the smaller lot. So to me, that's a very minor thing to do all this. So, but I'd let Thad finish what he has to say, and then I think Judy has something to say from her perspective, I hope.
And I can say that we had to come for the variance anyhow. We were looking at this as, let's at least crack open Pandora's box a little, or see about opening it. Again, I don't think that there are a lot of eligible properties for this scenario.
I don't know.
Okay, Judy, do you have
Judy?
anything to add?
I mean, I think that we've kind of touched on all of my concerns,
I think you
more
had
or
said in the
less.
past you thought it was applied to
Well,
Zone 2 or Area 2.
originally, when we made the regulation, we were referring to as Zone 2 of a public water supply, but Title V has changed since then. Now they have expanded the definition of a nitrogen-sensitive area, and Thad has explained that to you, that the different watershed areas, pretty much most of Chatham is in one of these nitrogen-sensitive areas now under Title V. So, but my concern has certainly been that this has never been done before, and I'm just concerned that we are opening a way for other people to get around that rule about short-term rentals. It seems like a minor, like for them to do all this just to be allowed to sell this house with the possibility of it being used as a short-term rental, when it can be built as a 3-bedroom.
And I'm
Either
afraid we're
way.
setting a precedent.
That would be my concern.
If we do this, if we allow 674, then next year somebody will want 2,500. And, you know, I'm just not in favor of approving the transfer just for the purpose of another
Yeah.
short-term rental.
I basically agree with Dick.
I agree with that, too.
But let me ask Judy a procedural question. Is this proposal from Thad, if we didn't okay the
Transfer.
nitrogen loading credit part, is this still an application for the 3-bedroom house with IA technology for each lot?
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes.
So we would, okay, so that would still be granted today with what we have.
We would have to act in each one separately. So on
Yeah.
160, we would basically be denying the nitrogen credit to 170, and then going ahead and approving the 3-bedroom dwelling with the nitrogen removal
If it-
system as proposed.
Makes it easier, we can request withdrawal of the nitrogen loading credit.
I think that allows you to come back more easily with a similar request if you, for some reason, were to do
And
it.
if we deny it, that's true, yep.
Yeah.
So it's,
I would rather request a withdrawal without prejudice.
okay,
Or in case we find that Pandora's box is smaller than.
all right.
than you expect.
Now, any input from the public? Yes, oops, sorry.
My name's Ed Acton. I'm the owner of the property and the builder. And I just
Owner
want
of
to,
both properties?
both properties,
Yeah.
yes. I know there's neighbors here of mine that will be next door to one of the properties. I have no intention of maintaining the property or keeping the property as a short-term rental. My plan is to build one house at a time and sell the houses. Of course, I can't determine what happens in the future, but they will be, expensive houses, and I don't imagine they'll ever be used as a short-term rental. Just wanted to give you that information.
I can imagine it. Because I see many, many
Yeah.
lovely
I
huge
don't know how they would
homes.
make the economics work.
I know, but
It's easy.
people do it.
Really?
It's easy.
Every day we have,
Because I imagine these houses
1,000 of them.
will sell, in the $5 to $6 million range, so.
Well-
But anything's possible, like you said.
it is true that
Thank you.
it seems very.
Other questions from the public? Yep. So we can hear you.
Ed explained all the, I'm sorry, Julia Salerno. Ed explained all the functions of this particular, what would we call it?
Microphone?
Application,
What he's proposing in terms of the, I'm sorry, in nitrogen loading and all of that kind of thing. That I have no problem with whatsoever, but you brought up the other part about the short-term rentals. That's the only part that I'm concerned about, but I don't think it has anything to do with the health department. I think it has to do with the regulations that the town has, and I don't know how it all goes, but I did read it, and there seem to be 4 different or 5 different proposals for homes and whether they can or cannot be utilized as a short-term rental in a particular neighborhood. And our neighborhood seems to be one of those areas where that shouldn't occur, from what I understood, reading that particular,
There may be
Document.
some zoning proposals on the table, but the Board of Health has a short-term rental regulation, so if you have a short-term rental, you have to register it with the Health Department. And then we review the application and the floor plans, and there's certain safety issues that they have to, fire extinguishers and smoke detectors, et cetera. So we are involved, but right now, there's no restriction on where they can be in town. They can be anywhere in Chatham.
was not, in the business district, it sounded like you could have short-term rentals, but not in a residential area from what I was reading, but
I'm
I,
not sure what you were reading. It may be something that's going through some zoning or planning. That's not,
But the Health Department and the Board of Health wrote the short-term rental regulation that's in effect now, came into effect a couple of years ago.
okay. The houses are going to be gorgeous, and there's not going to be any problem. And I'm sure anything that the engineer has suggested is probably going to be perfect. So I'm not concerned in terms of all of that. It's just the other part.
But one of our criteria, there were a bunch of them with the short-term rental regulation, was quality of life in the neighborhood, crowds, cars, parking,
That is my concern.
people coming and going.
That is my.
That was a part of it, so.
So it sounds like the discussion about short-term rental for these two properties is moot, makes no sense, since it's very unlikely that anybody would want these
I-
short-term rentals.
and-
But right now, more than 20% of the properties, of the homes in Chatham are short-term rentals. And the great majority of those are in residential areas. And they're now being rented from March through January. And it's really changing the quality of life
That's-
in the town for residents of the
That is
town.
my concern.
So that is the concern of the Board of Health.
We have a
trying to deal with
neighborhood
that.
association, we have a neighborhood beach, and short-term rentals. We've already seen one particular episode where a short-term rental used the beach very differently than the people who live there.
Yep.
And so was more my concern.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other input from the public? All right, does somebody want to put forward a motion with,
So Thad is withdrawing the 160 Woodland Way application, true?
no, this, just the application for nitrogen loading credit that would go to the smaller lot.
Okay.
So now he's just asking for IA technology to upgrade to a three-bedroom for each lot. And the smaller lot, under 20,000, by our previous rules, is eligible for three bedrooms with IA technology.
So I'll move that we approve the variance for the smaller lot with the provision that the short-term rental exclusion be placed on the
I
deed.
think we're actually on the larger lot. We're on one.
I'll move that we
160
approve the
Woodland Way.
larger lot with IA technology with the conditions that you've mentioned.
Shouldn't the motion reference the address? Because I'm,
160 Woodland Way.
So we have to do them separately?
I would do them.
Yeah, okay, so we're on 160 Woodland Way. This is the 21,000 square foot lot. And there's no nitrogen loading credit going anywhere there, so it's just a straightforward IA technology and an extra bedroom.
okay,
For
and then there's going to be
160 Woodland.
conditions that Judy has to read, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's make
Yes.
sure I'm on the right one here, yeah. Then they're both going to have the same conditions. The applicant should restrict the property to a maximum of 3 bedrooms, typo there, and record this restriction on the deed at the Barnstable County Registry of Deeds. The applicant shall submit a copy of the executed deed restriction to the Health Division. The applicant shall sign a covenant with the board agreeing to comply at such time as the town of Chatham, through its Board of Health and Board of Water and Sewer Commissioners, directing the connection of this property to the municipal sewer when it becomes available. The applicant must submit to the Board of Health the cross that out. That was for the deed restriction part, so we don't need that. Throughout the life of the septic system, it shall be under an operation and maintenance agreement, and that O&M agreement shall be for at least 1 year and may be with any mass-certified operator of the appropriate grade. Effluent from the system shall be monitored at least twice a year for the first 2 years, preferably May and October. Shall be trusted in accordance with Mass DEP standard conditions for secondary treatment units certified for general use. In addition, a lab test of the effluent for total nitrogen to meet the performance standard of 19 milligrams per liter shall be collected and analyzed. Water meter readings are to be provided with a semi-annual report. If any of the field tests or lab tests fail, follow-up tests shall be conducted by a certified lab. After the required 2 years, applicant can be made to the board or their agent for review and possible modifications of the monitoring. The applicant shall agree to apply a minimum of 6 inches of compacted topsoil to all disturbed areas of the property. The engineer shall submit an engineered as-built plan, including as-built elevations with a written certification that the system shall be installed in accordance with the approved plan. No alteration to the floor plan of the dwelling or the site plan will be allowed without further review. And this variance is granted pursuant to the Town of Chatham's Board of nitrogen loading regulations. I need to change that. And it's valid from 1 year from the date of the Board of Health approval. A permit must be issued and work commenced during that 1-year period.
What is the condition regarding the water meter measurements? You're only allowed so much water for these systems?
No, they just, the county likes to see how much usage it's getting, so that when they look at the data and when they're compiling their data. I'll be perfectly honest with you, I don't.
Have that in all of our variance requests? Yeah.
Yeah, that's been in there right along. I'm not sure we always get that information, but it is in there, so.
Okay, so do we have a motion, John?
Yes, I will so move.
Can a second?
He did it first.
What?
Sorry, Richard Edwards did the first motion.
Yeah, I move that we approve
So you have
this
Oh, you did it.
with
Oh,
these conditions.
and then,
John can do the other
second?
one.
John seconded.
On second, okay.
Okay,
We're all confused.
So we can take a vote on approving a variance for
160.
160 Woodland Way.
Right.
And when I call your name,
Do your best now, actually.
Could you also add in there the withdrawal without prejudice?
Yep.
oh,
Yes.
yes. Okay. Yeah, we'll add that the short-term rental issue was withdrawn without
No,
prejudice.
Nitrogen loading
The
credit
nitrogen loading credit request.
Okay, yeah, that's right, nitrogen loading,
is
request.
removed, is deleted.
Yeah, I think Diane got that.
okay.
But that should be part of do you accept that as part of the?
Good.
Yeah, right. Okay, so we can take a vote now. Carol Boyce,
Yes.
John Beckley,
Yes.
Dick Edwards,
Yes.
Joanne Kale, Noble Henson, yes. Okay, so that's 160 Woodland Way, and now we have 170 Woodland Way. This is the small lot, and it will retain a no short-term rental restriction. And the request for the nitrogen loading credit will be removed. And can I get a motion for that?
I'll move that we approve the variance for 170 Woodland Way with the conditions as stipulated.
And a second?
Second.
Joanne, second. Okay, and then we can take a
Oh,
vote.
we need the conditions.
Oh, conditions.
Because
You
this
want
is
me to
going to
read
have
them all
the,
again?
well, it's going to just add, it's going to add the.
Yeah, so it's the same conditions that I just read, and then on number 1, the applicant should restrict the property to a maximum of 3 bedrooms and record this on the restriction of the registry of deeds, and it shall include that the property will not be allowed to be used as a short-term rental. And then
Okay.
the rest of the requirements are the same.
Okay,
And
all right, we'll take, yes,
the withdrawal.
and that the request for the nitrogen loading credit transfer is withdrawn
Yes.
Without prejudice.
without prejudice. Carol Boyce,
Yes.
John Beckley,
Yes.
Dick Edwards.
Yes.
Joanne Kale. Noble Hanson, yes. Okay, I think we're settled there?
So much, and if I could just add 2 more little things. Like I said, chemistry is messy. The day after cleaning day, your nitrogen numbers spike in these systems because all the cleaners kill all the bacteria, which means the denitrification can't occur. And those water meter readings, if you get the widow or widower that's using very minimal water, their nitrogen numbers are going to be high concentration, low use. So the actual amount of nitrogen going through the system is minimal, but the concentrations are high.
There's the old saying, dilution is the solution,
To pollution.
Pollution.
is what?
Dilution's the solution to pollution.
Some
And I would
cases, it's-
rather have the bucket full of 50s than the teacup full of 100s.
Well, I mean, that's a good real-life example of variation in performance based upon what's going on. My concern was when they test one system against another system, all those standards should be the same. And then they could see the relative performance, one against the other, in those controlled situations. And it's those conditions that make me wonder whether some of the systems should not be approved.
But again, the problem is practice
But you can't,
versus
I mean,
testing.
that all becomes part of the average, though. It all washes out, the variability in use. You can't, that's the big picture. But I'm talking about if you're going to invest as a public health agency in approving certain IA systems, those decisions should be based upon objective, standardized data where the various choices are pitted
Yeah,
against
I
each
think the
other.
problem is that data doesn't really exist. I mean, the data that they're looking at is Chatham's data, which is so many variables, and they're
I
comparing.
thought they had systems in the ground.
That data is definitely more standardized.
Right.
But you have to have, the companies, they submit an application to put a system into the test center. It goes in the ground, and they monitor the influent and the outfluent and how much, all of that is very standardized. But the data that they presented to you is the data.
It's different. I
That's
get
the
that.
data that, how our systems are actually working.
Right.
And we don't have influent data. And,
And when they do the testing, they're using a standard set of criteria, flow, how often, how many days it can go without any flow. But then in the real world, everything's different. There's hundreds of different combinations of variables. And some systems may work fine with this house that's only occupied 3 months a year, and not work well with a house that has more people 12 months a year. It's just
possibly.
Is that
very, very
true?
difficult to
Yeah.
No,
say.
because it's dilution. So
Again.
again, the big difference is going to be long showers.
Right.
Somebody who puts a lot of water into the system, their numbers are going to come out great. Somebody is very frugal with their water, and their numbers are going to come out poor.
What IA systems are currently on the Chatham list that can be used?
Anything that's been approved by the state,
Or they're numerous.
or there's a long list of
long
systems
list.
that were approved for general use, some for nitrogen removal, some for just other items, but, and those, of that list, the fast and the single air are really the most cost-effective, and that's why they're being used the most. But since this new nitrogen-sensitive area by the state came out, they've been looking at and creating a best available technology list. And I was actually working with the county on a committee to look at the different types of systems and try and figure out how we could make recommendations for that list. And to be perfectly honest with you, the data set is so hard to compile that
You don't have confidence.
we didn't get too far. And
you
these were big brain people much smarter than me, working on this. But
And
the
they were-
state did come out with these two systems that they feel confident in. And then the other ones that Thad referred to that are used for provisional and piloting use, which means that the data is more, they're only allowing so many to be approved across the state, and then they're looking at that data to see if they can move it into the best available technology list. But right now, they only have these two systems.
And there are revisions that happen to these systems. When we first started all of this, back in the late 90s, we were putting in microfast. It's a different system today that we would put in. You can't put
Right.
an old microfast in because it no longer meets the company standard.
So we do have systems that are probably under,
Oh, I see,
just
yeah.
not as good as some of the newer systems.
Thad, do you use the microfast system yourself for your clients? Some clients?
Well, as of now, we've stopped.
You stopped.
We're now, this is our first systems using the STAR, and I really like those numbers. I've listened to the Board of Health, who has said, hey, you're hesitant on your support of the microfast because it's not performing as well as it should.
But what I say, so it begs the question, I think we've talked about it before, but and Judy's working on it, but coming up with a town shorter list, it doesn't sound like the money is so far away, if you think of the whole project, why we couldn't have a narrow list of the ones we know work really well. But that'd be,
Well, and your
agenda item for later
regulations
on.
already allude to, you don't have to create the list. The DEP has it.
Yeah, that's the list.
so these two are on the DEP's list.
Those are the two that are approved for general use. There are different systems approved for piloting and provisional.
So this is the Mass State DEP, has a list of just these two well-working systems, and as a town, we have a big, long list of all sorts of things, including FAST.
Well, your list actually goes back to the DEP, the full list of all approved
Right,
IA.
so, well, so my question is why we should have an agenda item meeting, agenda item request, where we have a meeting where maybe we could narrow it down to these two that work better.
And I would
Anyway,
suggest
it's for the
pointing
future.
back to the DEP list, instead of pointing to the general IA list,
I-
point to the.
Is that possible, Judy?
It is possible, and I actually asked some of the other health agents whether they were doing that, and basically they said no at this point. I think because everybody is still kind of wrapping their heads around these new technologies and, the watershed permits and whether we actually need to be putting these systems in at all, so.
But a $6,000 difference in cost when you look at the whole project of the whole IA thing, installing it, and the whole house project is not that
No,
much
with the
either.
cost of construction now, it's not much, and it's more than a $6,000 difference, because you do have extra tanks and special
Okay.
tanks and
All right,
things, so
well,
it.
Anyway, okay, so that's a good, something to discuss in the future. I like that idea. But, okay, so we're all set there. Thank you very much.
When you see me again, I won't be coming back with microfast, so.
We'll ask,
Hopefully we won't
we'll ask you to come in a coat and tie next time, like at the town meeting.
Thank you, Thad.
Thank you.
Do we get involved in all IA system installations, like in new construction? If it's not required for some reason? I mean,
If, 99% of them are because they want to build a four-bedroom house on a 30,000 square foot lot. And so those would all come to
We
you.
would see most
Yeah.
of the IAs.
Occasionally, someone will put one in where they're not required to by our regulations, but they just want to. And I don't usually send them to you, but I do require all the same conditions.
Okay.
Okay, then other public, comments from the public, and any future agenda items request. I know we have Mill Hill follow-up for the further discussions on the list. Probably a quick transfer station follow-up with a letter, or follow-up would be good.
Oh, yeah.
IA system sometimes, I think that's, and the airport is always being kicked around, that's something that we probably should bring up again. Any other agenda item
We got
requests?
an email about the airport yesterday.
Yeah.
I
well,
sent
that's for
that to you
discussion
today,
when it's
yeah.
on the-
To go on
When it's on the agenda.
Yeah. we
That's
need
for
to talk
discussion when
about
it's
that.
on the agenda, but that'd be a reason to bring it up. Okay, we have minutes from October 6th. Anybody have revisions or changes?
I'll make a motion, we adopt the draft minutes from October 6, 2025.
Okay, we can take a vote. Carol Boyce?
Yes.
John
Second,
Beckley?
need a second.
Dick Edwards?
Yes.
Joanne Kale? Noble Hanson, yes. And then a motion to adjourn? What?
I didn't hear who seconded, Kevin.
Oh, she, the one with no voice.
I move we adjourn.
Second?
Second.
Okay, Carol Boyce,
Yes.
John Beckley,
Can't hear you, Cal. Okay, Joey. Yes.
Dick Edwards?
Yes.
Joanne Kale? Yes. Noble Hanson, yes. Okay, we are adjourned.
He looked